If You Were a Kid Docking at the International Space Station, written by Josh Gregory and illustrated by Jason Raish. What is it like to visit the International Space Station? In 1961, a human traveled into our outer space for the first time. Since then, many more explorers have blasted off toward the stars. Many of them have spent time aboard the International Space Station. Join Lucy and Tim as they get an astronaut's view of the International Space Station in this exciting blend of fiction and nonfiction. You will see that traveling to outer space can offer you a new view of our world. Table of contents. Looking into space. Meet Lucy. Meet Tim. Map. Timeline. Words to know. Index. About the author. Looking into space. In 1961, Russian cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin became the first human to travel into outer space. Since then, many more explorers have blasted off toward the stars. Their missions have taught us a lot about our solar system and the rest of the universe, but there is still more to learn. One way astronauts study outer space is by visiting space stations to perform research. The first space station was built in the early 1970s. Space stations are huge spacecraft where astronauts can live and work in space for months at a time. Today, most astronauts around the world share a single space station called the International Space Station, or ISS. Turn the page to go on an incredible space station adventure. You will see that traveling to our outer space can offer you a new view of our world. Meet Lucy. Lucy Robinson dreams of becoming an astronaut one day, just like her older cousin Marie. She knows it won't be easy, but she tries to learn everything she can about science and space travel. Every time Marie visits, Lucy has a long list of questions to ask about her job. Meet Tim. Tim is Lucy's younger brother. Like his sister, he looks up to their cousin Marie. He would love to be a part of a mission to outer space. There's only one problem. He is afraid of heights. Every time he sees a video of a rocket blasting off, he wonders how astronauts can be so brave. The whole family had gathered at Lucy and Tim's house to wish Marie good luck. In just a few days, she would be taking her first trip into outer space. Lucy was thrilled for her cousin. What an amazing adventure. Tim was excited too, but he was also a little scared. Would Marie be safe up in space? The pull of gravity. Gravity is a force that pulls objects toward each other. Large objects, such as planets, have a lot of gravity. This is what keeps you stuck to Earth's surface. Earth's gravity also keeps the ISS in orbit around the planet, but the farther apart objects are, the weaker gravity between them is. This is why Earth's gravity is not strong enough to pull the ISS all the way to the ground. Marie, what kind of training did you have to do before the mission? Asked Lucy. Marie explained that she and the other astronauts had practiced space travel in simulators. They also took classes to learn about the technology they would be using aboard the space station. Marie had to learn to speak Russian too. This way she could talk to the cosmonauts who were joining her on the mission. Far from home. The ISS is always about 250 miles, 402 kilometers from Earth's surface. That might seem like a long way, but compared to other things in space, it's not that far at all. The moon is almost 239,000 miles, 384,633 kilometers from Earth. The sun is almost 93 million miles, 149 and 7/10 million kilometers away. How will you get to the space station? Tim asked. Will you be safe? Marie chuckled. She explained that she would first travel to Kazakhstan. From there, she would board a small spacecraft that would launch into space and dock with the space station. She promised him that many other astronauts had made the trip safely before. To space and back. All trips to the ISS begin and end in Kazakhstan. 3 astronauts at a time climb aboard a Russian Soyuz spacecraft. After blasting off, it takes them about 6 hours to reach the ISS. When it is time to return to Earth, usually after about 6 months, the astronauts get back in the same Soyuz spacecraft. On the return trip, it takes about 3.5 hours to land back in Kazakhstan. It was getting late. Everyone hugged Marie and wished her luck as she got ready to leave. Tim handed her Rex, his favorite stuffed dog. "Please take Rex with you," he said. "He'll keep you safe." Marie thanked him and promised to bring Rex into space. She also promised to stay in touch from the space station with video chat. Lucy and Tim exchanged an exciting glance. They couldn't believe such a thing was possible. Space studies. Astronauts spend much of their time aboard the ISS performing science experiments and collecting information. Sometimes they run tests on themselves to see how human bodies react to being in outer space. They have studied ways of growing food in space. They have observed the movement of big storms on Earth, and they have tested the ways that different machines react to being left outside in space. A Russian cosmonaut collects lettuce leaves grown aboard the ISS as part of an experiment. That weekend, Lucy and Tim asked their mom to take them to the library. They wanted to learn more about space travel and the ISS. At a computer, Lucy was wowed by a video showing how the ISS was built. Meanwhile, Tim read a book that talked about space travel disasters. It made him more worried than ever. Building the ISS. The ISS is made of many smaller pieces called modules. Each module is built on Earth and then launched into space. Astronauts connect the modules together. The first piece of the ISS was launched into orbit in 1998. Since then, many new modules have been added. They provide more room for astronauts, more tools for conducting experiments, and other benefits. The ISS is currently about the size of a 6-bedroom house on the inside, and it is still growing. More new modules are planned for the future. "Wouldn't it be great to go into space like Marie?" Lucy asked. "Just think of the amazing things she will get to see." "I don't know," Tim answered. "Space is really cool, but what happens if something goes wrong?" "It does seem like it could be scary," Lucy admitted, "but that's what makes astronauts so awesome. They're smart and brave." Tim sighed. He wished he was brave like Marie and Lucy. Floating in space. Aboard the ISS, astronauts do not walk around like we do on Earth. Instead, they float through the air. This is because of the way gravity works aboard the space station. Everything aboard the ISS stays in mid-air all the time unless it is strapped down. An astronaut takes photos while floating aboard the ISS. A few weeks later, Lucy and Tim got the chance to have a video chat with Marie. Even though she was up in space, they could see her talking right there on their tablet. "Wow," said Lucy, "I feel like I'm on the space station with you." Marie held Rex up to the camera to show Tim. "Everything went perfectly and we're safe and sound aboard the ISS," she said. She told them about life on the space station. She even showed off some of the special food the astronauts ate. It was dried out so it would last a long time without spoiling. A safe place in space. Humans are not naturally suited to survive in outer space. It is very cold, there is no oxygen to breathe, and the air pressure is deadly. To live aboard the ISS, astronauts rely on a variety of life-supporting technology. Machines create breathable air and control the temperature and air pressure. Astronauts must keep careful watch over these systems. If something were to go wrong, their lives would be in danger. A NASA astronaut works on the ISS's water recycling system. Marie told her cousins about a day she had to repair something on the outside of the space station. She had to put on a spacesuit and do a spacewalk to help fix the problem. "It was one of the most amazing things I've ever done," said Marie. "I could see Earth floating way down beneath my feet, with nothing in between. It was beautiful." Lucy and Tim were almost too amazed to respond. Making repairs. Just like any machine or technology, the ISS needs maintenance to stay in working condition. If something on the outside of the spacecraft needs work, astronauts might put on spacesuits and go fix it. While spacewalking, they must always stay connected to the space station with a tether. This keeps them from floating away. A NASA astronaut works to install new equipment on the outside of the ISS. About 6 months later, after she had left, Marie was finally back home on Earth. To celebrate, the whole family gathered once again at Lucy and Tim's house. As usual, the kids had plenty of questions for her, but first, Marie had to return Rex to Tim. "Thanks for letting him come with me," she said. "He helped keep me from getting lonely up there." "Wow," said Tim, "I can't believe Rex went all the way to space. Maybe one day you and I can follow in his footsteps," Lucy said with a grin. Speeding through space. The ISS is constantly in motion as it orbits Earth. It moves at a speed of about 17,200 miles per hour, 27,681 kph. It travels all the way around the world more than 15 times per day. This means the people aboard see the sunrise about every 90 minutes. An astronaut works in space as the sun rises over Earth. "I don't know," Tim replied. "I'm not sure I want to go all the way to space." "That's okay," said Marie. "We need plenty of people back on Earth to work in mission control." "Yeah," said Lucy. "I'll be an astronaut and you can run the missions." Tim smiled and said, "That sounds like a great plan to me." Energy from the sun. The ISS is packed with computers, machines, and other things that need electricity to work. So where does this energy come from? The sun. The ISS is equipped with enough solar panels to cover about half of a football field. The panels absorb sunlight and turn it into electricity. When the space station is in Earth's shadow, it relies on batteries for power. Our solar system. Timeline. About the author. Josh Gregory is the author of more than 90 books for kids. He has written about everything from animals to technology and history. A graduate of the University of Missouri-Columbia, he currently lives in Portland, Oregon. About the illustrator. Jason Reich is an illustrator living in Brooklyn, New York. He has also lived in Seoul, Beijing, Tokyo, Barcelona, London, and Paris because new experiences make him a better artist. He wishes he could experience outer space.